Welcome to the AUANews Inside Tract podcast, an official podcast of the American Urological Association. Thanks for listening. For more episodes of this podcast, visit www.auanet.org/podcast.
Hello, I am Dr. Jennifer Robles, Assistant Professor at Vanderbilt University Medical Center and also Chief of Urology and Surgical Quality Officer at the Tennessee Valley Healthcare System. I'm here today with Dr. Max Bowman, Assistant Professor of Urology at the University of California, San Francisco. As an enthusiastic alum of the AUA Science and Quality Fellowship Program, I'm really excited today to talk to Dr. Max Bowman about his experience as a current AUA Science and Quality Fellow. The mission of this program is to help support the AUA's mission by advancing the field of guidelines, quality and measurement, data and research, and by providing insight into how the AUA develops and promotes the advancement of evidence-based science. The program is designed to educate and involve urology residents, fellows, and/or postgraduates about the science and quality initiatives and nurture the next generation of urology leaders. Each Science and Quality Fellow serves a 2-year term during which they attend science and quality governance meetings, leadership training, and select AUA meetings with funding support. So with that, I wanted to start by asking Dr. Bowman, what inspired you to apply to this program?
Great. Thank you. And thanks for having me, Dr. Robles. I'm really excited to be here and talk about my experience. When I was a resident pretty early in my training, I started to sort of realize that there were some incredible gaps in our health system and the way that we deliver care, and the quality was some low-hanging fruit to be I think fixed. And so I really pretty early started to realize I had an interest in quality improvement, and also some of the science initiatives that the S&Q Council covers. And so I think it was a natural kind of fit for me and my interests when I was kind of looking at different career trajectories in quality improvement and some of these other initiatives. And I found this opportunity, and I was fortunate enough to get it on my second time applying, and it's been extremely valuable since then.
Awesome. I completely agree. I think that anyone as a resident sees a lot of things, low-hanging fruit that could be potentially improved, and I think surgeons like to improve things, so I think it's a natural fit for people, and I think this program is a great extension of that interest for folks. What have you been doing as a Science and Quality Fellow? Give us a little bit of insight into what is involved.
It has been an incredibly productive and fruitful almost 2 years now. I think broadly, some of the things that I found really meaningful and interesting is attending the subcommittee meetings and as well as the broader Science and Quality Council meeting. So as our listeners may or may not know, there's 3 subcommittees below the S&Q Council. There's the KIPS committee, which is Quality Improvement, Patient Safety. There's the guidelines, and then there's the data committee. And being able to sit on each of those sort of panels in each of those meetings throughout the year has been really informative, just to get a better idea of what exactly the AUA is doing and what they're doing in this space to make life better for all of our practicing urologists and APPs throughout the country. And that has been really, really interesting. And then beyond that, I've been able to sort of dive into some of the initiatives that each of those committees has been doing. So for instance, the data committee puts out the census each year. And so I've been able to sort of be involved in reviewing that and see what it's like to design the census and then processing the incoming census, which hopefully everybody took at this year's AUA, which as of this recording just wrapped up. There's also been in the KIPS committee project to produce what's now known as a QI issue brief. It used to be an AUA white paper on the concept of joy in work and how we view that as an antidote to burnout. And that has been super rewarding and something that I would not have been able to do if it wasn't for this fellowship. And then, the data committee and the guidelines committee have other initiatives that I've done. I've sat in on some of the new BPH guidelines meetings and things like that. So it's just been a really informative, really productive year for me. It's been great.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. That mimics what I did as well. And I think it's just a great experience. I found it to be a great experience. You sound like you found it as well. Was there anything as you got involved with those committees that surprised you about, how things run or the work that the committees do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think early on, I didn't even really know how many pots the AUA has its fingers in. And so it's been
Yeah.
really interesting. Like I kind of felt like I was like part of like the urology Illuminati sort of. I was like, oh my God, like they're involved in everything. And it's been really cool to see. And so that really surprised me a lot. And then really just seeing how much work goes behind things like producing a new guideline, or these like issue briefs that we see is just like a couple pages on the AUA website, but how much just coordination work goes on behind it, and how dedicated our staff is at the AUA headquarters, not the physicians, but the actual AUA staff, how much work they put into all this and how dedicated they are. That's been amazing to see, and I think has really inspired me to continue a career trajectory being really involved in the AUA.
Agreed. Yeah, once you get in, sometimes you become like a lifer.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see
Uh,
why. It's like so cool what they're doing. It's really, you feel like you're actually like on the ground floor of where the decisions are being made. You're in the room
mhm.
where it happens, to quote
Right,
Hamilton. Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly. What, if anything, would you say you're most like proud of? You're almost done, right? Like you're coming on the end of your 2-year term. What are you most proud of working on in this time?
I think one of my legacies that I want to leave behind here is this initiative that has kind of been in the works for several years. I mean, I talked to you about this when I started the S&Q Fellowship, and Matt Nelson, who's the outgoing chair of the council, and several other people, which is sort of building better inroads for residents, particularly I think less experienced residents who are just kind of having a budding interest, or kind of seeing what the AUA is doing on this level and want to get a little more involved, building inroads for them to get more involved. So what we're doing for the first time this coming year is opening up some resident specific positions in each of the subcommittees of the AUA S&Q Council for residents to apply and actually attend some of these meetings. Because I do think that there is broad interest in our trainee population in doing this work.
Yeah.
And there's really broad interest in the AUA and having trainees involved. And there's just not as much of a bridge between those two ends. And hopefully this will start building a little more of that bridge, and getting trainees more involved and offering the opportunity for that. So I'm really proud of that work. It's still ongoing right now, but I'm hoping that's going to be my lasting legacy here as my tenure as the fellow.
100%. I mean, as you mentioned, it's an idea that had been talked about since I was a fellow years ago. And I think, first of all, it's amazing that you're actually bringing it to fruition. And second of all, just as someone who is still, has a career that's based within the quality improvement space, have seen for many years now this need for some sort of pipeline, something for people to do who are, like you said, starting to have interest or starting, they've done their first 1 or 2 QI projects in their for the low hanging fruit in their local institution, and they're getting excited.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like a career in academic quality improvement is becoming more and more of a legitimized sort of thing. And I think in 10 years, it'll be almost the same sort of track as education, or just, straight basic science or clinical research. And we're kind of in the midst of that firming up and becoming more of a thing. And
Yeah.
types like initiatives like this are exactly how that, I think, happens, where it is more of a clear road. You don't feel like you're forging your own path a little bit, which is how a lot of us feel that have been in the QI space. But that comes along with, I think, like publications, publishing QI research more and more, taking it a little more seriously, dedicated sessions at conferences, or even whole conferences that are dedicated to QI that didn't exist even a few years ago. I think that movement is happening right now, and this is just a part of that. And it feels good to be a part of that.
100%. I think that sort of brings up another aspect of the fellowship that I found to be super important for me, and like has continued to be important for me throughout my career. And I'm curious if you could touch on it, which is like the networking side of it, right? So if you are someone who's interested in sort of some aspect of the science and quality world, whether that's QI, like us, or whether that's data or whatever, um, one of the most valuable things about attending these meetings is not just seeing like how, the soup gets made, but also like just meeting the people, meeting the leaders that are already doing this that can, potentially mentor you through some of these career paths that are not necessarily the most straightforward, because they're not like the traditional thing. Has that also been an aspect of your fellowship?
Absolutely. I would say probably one of the most valuable things for me personally, for the fellowship. I think I went from knowing almost nobody in the field at a high level to knowing several, maybe even a dozen or more, at like really the upper echelon of who's doing the cool, important work, names that you recognize all across all the publications, people you see at a conference and whisper like, oh, that's, that so-and-so. Like I now know them. I can walk up to them, shake their hand, Matt Nielsen or David Ginsburg or like Andrew Harris, whoever it is, Peter Clark. It's just, it's really cool to now be somebody who actually has those connections and inroads. And I never would have had that before now. I mean, the last 2 years, those connections have just exploded. And now it's, I feel like I'm quite close with a lot of these people, and they will be mentors whether they like it or not for me for the rest of my career. and that's been just solely because of this opportunity. It's been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting them on notice for all of them that are listening right now and not getting rid of you. That specific group that you mentioned is also like the nicest people. One of the cool things about the fellowship that I think a lot of people overlook is that the fellowship also pays for you to attend like certain AUA meetings that maybe you wouldn't have gone to otherwise, or leadership or training courses that you otherwise wouldn't have gone to. When I was a fellow, it was mandatory, like what you went to. We went to the AUA Policy Summit, which is super cool. Shout out for the AUA Policy Summit. Everyone knows it's awesome. And then we also went to this 1 week long, really intensive surgeons leadership course that's run by the ACS, which is really interesting. But over the years, we realized that not every fellow wants to do that. Some fellows have other interests, and that leadership course may not be the best fit for them. So we've opened it up so people can do kind of what they want. Was your experience with that?
Yeah, the funding opportunities to attend this and how much they actually truly support it has been awesome. I mean, first and foremost, like my introduction was attending the S&Q council meeting in the fall in Lithicum at the AUA headquarters, and that was just really impressive just on its own. Just being funded to go and attend that. Future fellows will have even like a souped up experience with that now that we're doing the S&Q summit with our inaugural year being this November. And that's going to be like an amazing experience. I had so much fun just seeing like the AUA headquarters itself and having our archivist like show me around the like AUA museum, and then meeting all these people that were doing really cool things and seeing like the inside look on the initiatives and the plans of the AUA in general. And then I also was funded to go to the ACS QI conference last year, which was really cool. Just kind of feeling like I was there as sort of a representative of the AUA and S&Q Council, and talking to a lot of people there about what they're doing in breast oncology or general surgery or whatever else, and seeing what other really cool things are going on in the world of QI outside of urology, and then being able to kind of have those conversations and have sort of a back and forth about stealing some of their ideas, but also building some connections outside of urology to see what we can collaborate with out, in other realms. So that was a really cool experience for me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super interesting anytime you get to see that what the other like societies are doing, The application process for the next AUA S&Q Fellow should officially be open by the time this episode airs. And I was wondering if you could just speak in our last couple of minutes to what you think, potential applicants should think about. Like, what qualities do you think that they need to be an S&Q Fellow, and what advice do you have for them?
I think first and foremost, I think just like an enthusiastic interest in this work is probably one of the best things in your toolkit coming into this fellowship. That's mostly just because the opportunities are extremely ample. And as you've said, it's actually become a little more like a little more flexible as far as the opportunities that you can take advantage of. So coming in with a lot of enthusiasm and interest in this work is super helpful. I think it is really valuable if you come with some QI experience and kind of can hit the ground running with, whatever it is you're sort of interested in coming in, whether it's leadership or you're more on the data side or whatever. Just having a little bit of exposure coming in can help you sort of hit the ground running. So I think that's a little amorphous and probably dependent on each person. However, that is, I think, really helpful to have a really productive and fruitful time in your fellowship. And then I think really just having maybe some projects in mind that you want to see come to light, and that might change throughout the year as you're getting pretty heavily mentored by the leaders here. But even being able to kick around some things that you're maybe interested in and talk about it with whoever is here, it'll be Peter Clark as the chair, who's amazing. And so many of the other people that are involved in this work, Raytan with the data committee, and Andrew Harris at KIPS. It's just like a really great group of people who are amazing mentors, so generous with their time. So I think coming in with ideas is great, and they'll change. It changed a lot for me as I came in, but it was a good starting place. So I think that's really important for somebody that's applying.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's one of the things, sitting on the other side of it, as a member of any of these committees or of the council, that's one of the things that the SEQ fellow brings to the group, right? Is that like enthusiasm, that passion, new ideas, all of that. So this isn't like a one-way program, both sides are benefiting from the relationship. And I 100% agree with you that I think like enthusiasm and passion about it is probably like the most critical like piece. Well, with that, we're heading towards the end. We're going to wrap up our conversation. I just wanted to ask you for a moment, is there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to bring it up today?
I mean, I would just emphasize that this has been such a valuable opportunity for me for so many reasons. I mean, just sort of like being able to see the work that's being done by the AUA, build all the connections that we mentioned, be able to actually steer and direct some of my own projects and interests, and having the platform to do that, as well as just kind of like really a launching point for my career in QI. I mean, I am an assistant professor right now. I just graduated residency a couple of years ago. I am hoping to really use this opportunity to just direct myself into and really propel myself several years forward into a career in the AUA and in QI and patient safety. And I think it's really been super valuable for that. So I'm so happy that I did this fellowship. It's been a really, really gratifying experience. So I would that's the only thing I would emphasize here at the close.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I echo all of that. I'm a few years past you, and I would say that I completely agree that I think that this fellowship was really pivotal for me and for my career within quality improvement, and my continued career and involvement, with the AUA. So with that, I will wrap us up. Thank you so much again for talking to me. This is a lovely conversation. I love this topic, and I love being able to chat with you about it. Reminder again to everyone, if you're interested, to please apply to the program. It will be listed on the AUA website. You'll probably get email blasts. You can send an email to quality@auanet.org. Applications are going to be due by 5 p.m. Eastern on July 30th, 2026. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This has been an AUAnews Inside Tract podcast. Thanks for listening. For more episodes of this podcast, visit www.auanet.org/podcast.